people, those jobs almost exist to let you know that you for sure don't want to do that. It's like the feeling of it being, it's like being in a real bad relationship, right? Like what gets you out of a relationship? You fucking explode. That's what happens. You get to a certain point where you're like, will you just shut the fuck up and leave me alone? I can't take this negativity anymore. We're done. We're done here. Okay, boom. Like, you have to hit this well.
You got to hit the bottom in order to change.
Yeah, and you got to have that McDonald's job to appreciate a really good job.
And it's great to talk about later. Like you and I, we talk about our first jobs. It gave you the motivation to get on your fucking horse and get out of there.
Yeah, if you didn't have that motivation. And that's where, when we're talking about money, like, about our society designed to sort of encourage motivation, which encourages success, which encourages financial rewards. It encourages you more attractive to the opposite sex when you're driving a Ferrari. To a lot of chicks, that's a fact. A lot of people get really mad at that, but that's a fact. It's just a fact. I mean, there's just too many dudes who are ugly and old who have really hot wives.
Right.
I mean, it's just fact. Guys get billions of dollars in giant yachts, and they're fucking these hot chicks, and it doesn't make any sense, but that's a fact. Yeah. You can't deny that fact. Why does that fact exist? Well, it exists because we got a weird system. We got a weird system, and that's one of the holes in the system. One of the holes in the system is that achievement has superseded actual physical desire for a lot of these poor gold diggers, and they let this wrinkly old cocksucker shoot his dry loads into you.
Oh.
And you got to pretend you love it. Oh, baby. Oh, yeah. Put it in my mouth, baby. Right. Meanwhile, you're like that guy who got his face farted on and threw up at Naga. That's what you're thinking. This old man fucking creeps on you.
Yeah, and he doesn't shower on purpose, just to degrade you further.
Probably.
Like, if it's all about the money, why don't you suck it now, baby?
Well, there's a lot of guys that definitely have a resentment towards these gold diggers.
Oh, hell yeah.
For sure. Especially once the woman's, the fun has worn off of the game of pretending you're attracted to the man, which, if you're a guy who's not attractive and you're successful and you believe in your head that you're something cool, there's something special about you. Look how well I've done, and this defines me. This watch, see this watch? It's a $50,000 watch, and this is a fucking $20 million estate. And you get that shit in your head, and you get a girl, and she tricks you with your own ego. You get, baby, you're just amazing to be around. I'm just so lucky we met each other. Meanwhile, she is perfect. Her tits are just melons bobbing gently in this really strange, thin materialed clothes that she wears that clings over her hips and just inches lower than her vagina. Just hanging inches lower than her vagina. Her bubble ass and perfect legs.
The gap under
painted
the pussy.
Toes.
Yoga.
And you're like, Jesus Christ. Right. And she just strokes your cock, kisses you, and you're like, I'm marrying this bitch.
Wait, is she Asian? Is she Asian?
Yes.
Of course she is.
Thai. She's like Thai or something like that.
She's Thai, so she gives you that shoulder rub.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing, is you realize with her, not only am I getting the fucking body, I'm getting shoulder rubs. I'm getting subservience. The bitch can cook. She treats the help well. She gets it. And you can go out with her, and she knows how to treat your friends. She knows how to kiss you in front of your friends. She poisons you in
your sleep because she realizes that she's tricked you into having a shitty will where she gets everything. Because your kids are, she convinced you that your kids would be better off if you didn't give them a safety net, because that would make them successful like you. So she played to your ego, and you cut the kids out of the will and gave all the money to this crazy Thai bitch who starts slowly poisoning your drink.
And she won. She earned it. That's the thing about, like, Anna Nicole Smith, when his fucking stupid kids wanted his estate. No, Anna Nicole was sucking his dick. Didn't you do a bit about this?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, it was one of my closers in 1999.
Wait, what was it?
Well, it was the whole thing about them saying, like, oh my God, she's taking advantage of him. She's only with him for his money. I'm like, don't you think he fucking knows?
Right.
That guy made $1 billion from scratch. Chances are he's a tad crafty. And it was like this whole thing about, like, how do you want to die? Do you want to die shaking and alone in your hospital bed surrounded by loved ones? Or do you want to get a big, fat Kentucky Fried hooker and just blow it out? And that's what he did. And it was all him dying, telling her to lick his ass and all the different shit he did to her right before he died.
And the kids have done nothing. And they think they deserve. You were raised with all that fucking money. You went to private schools. You had tennis coaches. He probably bought you houses. Why do you need more? What the fuck did you do? You didn't suck his dick.
Yeah. You need to get your own money, stupid.
Right.
You rode the ride, and now it's over. And I think also, and this sounds fucked up, but That exists because it's a predatory situation. You're prey. You know, if you're a vulnerable, old, weak, emotional guy who also has $1 billion, women are going to prey on you.
Right.
They're going to pretend to be something they're not. And they might even convince themselves that they are that something that they're pretending to be, because their instinct to try to acquire your wealth and your social status is so strong that they want to be the Trump girl. They want to be the new girl that Trump leaves his wife for.
Yeah, I don't think it's black and white. I mean, if you're a woman that grew up in that paradigm, maybe your dad had money and your mother was a stay-at-home mom, and maybe she had a hint of that. And then all of a sudden, you're involved in charitable organizations, and you're taking his wealth and you're channeling it to positive things. So it starts to not necessarily be about, is he the one I would have married just based on his looks and his charisma, but it starts to become about, like, well, life is pairing up with somebody and being powerful. Like, you watch House of Cards?
No, I haven't. Don't you fucking spoiler alert me.
Just to say the relationship is about power.
I know that show is supposed to be amazing.
It's amazing.
I'm jumping onto it next.
But it's basically about how a couple can be together because they're a power couple. And it's interesting.
Bill and Hillary, most likely, right?
Right.
Most likely?
Absolutely. Most presidents.
I think probably you have to be. I don't think you can do that thing on your own. I think that's a nutty fucking job. And the First Lady has a prominent role in our culture. I mean, she's constantly speaking and doing these things. And I think you're dead right. I think you're dead right about that. And I think it's also that we're also talking about just two stops on a broad range of possibilities. Right. From ultimately totally evil Russian hot prostitute who steals your organs when you're asleep to someone who just doesn't want to work, and the guy's kind of cool and he treats her good, and so she stays with him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've seen both. I've seen both. I've seen people get victimized, and I've seen people that are just in sort of this relationship where I wouldn't want it, but it works for them. You know,
and sometimes they're out in the open with it. The woman will tease and be like, "Oh, honey, you know I wouldn't be with you if it wasn't for the fucking money."
Oh, it's not even a tease.
And he goes, "Of course I know that."
That's a movie. That's in a movie. What was the movie that was in? There was a movie that was in where
Platoon.
Well, no, the one
Schindler's List. Terms of endearment.
See, you can't even help it. You do it right away.
Chitty chitty
you go
bang
right
bang.
to fucking Platoon. There's a picture of organs hanging out on the beach.